Welcome to episode.
Sink or swim, it's all on you.
Welcome to episode 5 of Gopher podcast, everybody. This is Michael and
this is Felix. Lance isn't here today. He's feeling sick, as are we, but less so.
we are, and also it's way more convenient for us to do the podcast than for Lance to drive over here and join us.
Yeah.
However, we do have plenty of great talking points to just get through.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like to start this one off?
So Oscar season's here. That's wild, huh?
Oscar season is here. That is pretty crazy.
And we ain't talking about no grouch. Ha 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 ha. Banter.
Well, you know what? We haven't seen too many of the movies that are Oscar favorites.
No, we've seen one.
We've seen one, which we don't even agree is an Oscar.
Yeah, no.
Worthy movie.
Joaquin Phoenix, the movie we're referring to is The Joker, and I think Joaquin Phoenix deserves an Oscar nomination for his performance. I don't know if the movie deserves a Best Picture nomination.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
We're both pretty sold on that.
Mm-hmm.
However, we can talk about the Academy in total.
Yeah.
And say, like, is the Academy good?
Yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Overall, I think it's the concept of awarding the Best Picture makes sense. Like, it's a nice achievement for any writer, director, or actor, and certainly probably a motivation for some, especially, like, I don't know if Scorsese really cares or not, but, like, I know since he has won Oscars, that maybe it's something that he holds dear to him.
I mean, who knows? Maybe 40 years ago he cared about it. I doubt he does as much now.
Sure, probably. But okay, so that's good for young filmmakers.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
It's something to strive for. Overall, I don't think it matters at all.
No, me neither.
Okay. I don't also think the Academy has weird biases.
When I was younger, I used to think getting Academy Award and Oscar was such a cool feat, and I guess to some degree it still is. It just, to me now, I've become much more jaded, and I see it as, it's just people scratching other people's backs because they all have projects they want to make, and Los Angeles is a pretty dirty town where you do dirty deeds to get dirty favors. So there's people helping people for their own self-interest.
Yes, and if we want to make it into this business, just understand that we would also become
No,
part
for
of that
sure, for
awful,
sure, for
dirty
sure.
cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd guide your hand, don't worry. I wouldn't let you go into any bathrooms with no execs.
No, thank you
At
so
least
much.
without a game plan.
Oh, well, of course not. We have to
Of course.
have a playbook and everything.
Of course.
I mean, how else are you supposed to make it in this industry?
Alright.
Anyways, overall, weird biases that the Academy has. Like, there hasn't been a superhero movie ever put in
This
to
is a
the
topic
Academy.
I love talking about because they love adaptations. They love, especially novel adaptations. They love historical representations. It's like I've done a deep dive into this topic and like it bums me out how one note they can be with their voting. I'm like, oh, cool, neat.
As soon as like Disney or Marvel's attached to a film,
It's
like there's no chance that this could be an Oscar-worthy film. I'm not saying
icky.
I'm not saying that every Marvel movie should be nominated for an
No,
Oscar.
no, of course not.
I think most of them probably shouldn't be.
No.
I just think there are.
Yeah, other than the vanity Oscars, such as best costume design, and all the technical stuff.
All the technical stuff, which they are also excellent at. But once again, other films can also be excellent at those things.
Sure. Just they tend to be better.
They tend to be better, and it usually has something to do with the amount of money they have in comparison to other films.
because I think films such as Winter Soldier, Infinity War, there's another one.
Infinity War for Josh Brolin's
Brolin, it's a fantastic character study of a man who lost everything, had a mental breakdown, and said, "I'm the one who can fix this."
And better yet, it was a giant purple alien, and you believe every word he's saying.
Every word he says.
You think it's real life. Like it's a very convincing performance, and it amazes me that wouldn't be an
It's
Oscar.
like I know this is a root for Cap because America, but I mean, we have a population and resource problem on a planet of 7 billion. Imagine a universe filled with trillions.
Yeah. So anyways, it's just like, I feel like, if anything, some of those parts of the Marvel Universe are absolutely Oscar-worthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, the people that are running the Academy, and I assume most of them are good guys.
Yeah.
I assume most of them don't mean to have biases.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure their pretension comes from just being ingrained in the society. So they're just saying, oh, no, we know what's better. And I'm sure they think they do. It's just the subjectivity of such an award and such a nature of art and just art in general. Like, obviously people say there is objectivity to art, which sure there is. You can decide what is and isn't art, and then experts can agree on what is high and low value art. It's just when you have degrees of mediation in between that you come to a standstill and stand off with different people from different aspects of the industry.
Yeah, and I think that's a very interesting point
Mm-hmm.
because you look at it and it's like at some point once it reaches to cinema, isn't it that just a movie? Isn't that just film? Isn't that what everyone's collectively getting together and going out to seeing?
Not according to Martin Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, and listen, the problem is that I'm sure they're certainly not the first to have said this.
No.
But since it's them,
Yeah.
and they've made some fantastic movies,
Mm-hmm.
they legitimize this argument because they are who they are,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's a legitimate argument.
Because there's a popular idiom or popular phrase, or for lack of a better term, phrase out there that reads, "Those who can't do, teach." And I think the inverse applies here, in which Martin Scorsese is one of the greatest I've ever seen in his craft, and I don't think that automatically makes him an authority on what is or isn't art akin to his.
Yeah.
I think he can decide what his own art is valued at for himself and possibly others in his social circle. But I think to judge and disregard everyone else's art as
You're
as less than or not equal or non-existent to his, I think is a very narrow and out of touch take.
Yeah. And listen, and there's no reason why he can't have some sort of form of criticism
No.
for the Marvel Universe. I mean, if he says that they're oversaturated and they're the same thing over and over again, they lack a creative aspect in storytelling, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with him. I'd be like, okay, let's review these points, but where can the Marvel Universe improve?
Yeah, because that's a discourse on art, whereas he just disregarded you're just talking about cinema there, whereas he disregarded every MCU movie as cinema, and that's just not a good take to have, especially for someone who came up in the industry at such a burgeoning time, someone who's pioneered the gangster movie genre in such a fashionable way, who's just disregarding these movies, such as, let's say, Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, right?
Yeah.
It's less so about just superheroes in space trying to steal a rock. It's about a man dealing with loss, people dealing with coming to terms of identity, and just finding family where there was none before.
I would say that's even. I would go as far as saying that Guardians of the Galaxy isn't really a super. It's more so a movie or a film, and less so a superhero film.
Yeah.
In really comparison, because it does. It breaks away from some of the aspects that make a superhero movie a superhero movie. Mm-hmm. Like, overall, like, it's more, and it certainly has its aspects, but it's more about, Star-Lord, really just his mental breakdown as a character.
Yeah.
And, like, going through the loss of his mother, and then him trying to find trust in people.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what the movie's mostly about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's less so about, the formulaic
Yeah.
experience that you would come to expect from, like, a Marvel film, from a Captain America film.
Yeah.
Or, Captain Marvel, or any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Because, movies like that, like, trust at the core of Guardians, no one trusts anyone, but at the end they're a family.
Yes.
In Cap 2, The Winter Soldier, Captain America has the idea of the red, white, and blue, of being a patriot. And he's saying, you know what, this country's pretty great, and I like what I do for my country. Then he sees all these shadow organizations and all these lies that are built upon lies. He's saying, I don't know who I can trust. I know I can trust myself, and I got myself and me alone. He sees Stan Lee, who's a janitor at the museum where they have a Kappa display. He's like, hey, you're the guy. He's like, shh.
Yeah.
It's a cool touch. But it's a man dealing with the resurrection of his dead best friend that he didn't know was alive. It's like, oh, cool, now you're a Russian soldier. Also, the Soviet Union died a while ago, but you're still here, still brainwashed, and I gotta deal with all of this. Then he becomes a fugitive from the very country he sought to preserve and protect.
Yeah. And that's crazy because, honestly, if you take Captain America out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you, obviously the main character's still there, but he's just not called Captain America.
Yeah.
And if you just make it, its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
That movie would probably, be an Oscar favorite.
Yeah.
If anything, for its societal themes as well. How we can't trust our government nowadays for certain things with the NSA and then Edward Snowden. They're just things in our government that like there are just parallels that movie makes that the Oscar Academy would normally love. Like they would love those parallels.
Because that movie's a perfect 60s, 70s spy thriller.
Yes.
It just got...
It's a modernized 60s, 70s.
It's got a guy throwing a shield in there, just, random points when he needs to.
And there are 60s, 70s spy thrillers that have been nominated for Oscars.
There are.
Was The Fugitive, the one with Harrison Ford, was that nominated for an Oscar?
I
feel like it was.
think it was. That's not so much a
It's not a spy movie, but you know what I'm saying. It's like there are similar aspects.
Yeah, it came out in 80 something, I think. 93.
Did it win anything?
Oh yeah, Academy Award for supporting actor and best supporting role for Tommy Lee Jones because he was fantastic in that film.
Yeah.
That was the only Academy Award. It was also nominated for a BAFTA. The British Oscars.
Yeah.
And a bunch of lesser awards. Sorry, MTV Movie Awards.
Sorry, MTV. But all I'm saying is, like, okay, even a movie like that would get recognition for...
Yeah.
And I'm not going to trash The Fugitive. I'm just saying that I would say that Winter Soldier is as good or even a better film than The Fugitive.
Yeah.
And they certainly have similar aspects. Not completely. I mean, The Fugitive is a completely different story.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, a cat and mouse chase between the people that are chasing you and, like, the government, and then trying to prove the people that are chasing you wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain aspects that follow. You would just think that maybe the Academy would see that and they'd be able to see past a man holding a shield that makes no sense in physics.
Yeah, I would attribute and compare The Fugitive to Civil War, the third Captain America movie. You'd think it's just Avengers 2.5.
Yes, Avengers 2.5.
I would compare it to that because Iron Man's chasing down Bucky and Cap's protecting Bucky. So in a sense, RDJ is Tommy Lee Jones and Cap is Harrison Ford saying Bucky didn't kill this person, or he killed them out of his own mind. So he wasn't really Bucky doing the murders. And Tommy Lee Jones / RDJ has his reasons for doing what he does, and he's justified, and so does Cap in a sense.
Yeah, and first of all, just talk about Robert Downey Jr.'s performance,
dude,
in Civil War.
Okay, Academy, listen to this real quick, all right? Quit being dummies. RDJ, before the first Iron Man movie, he was uninsurable because of his drug-addicted, alcohol-fueled past. Right? He was uninsurable. Mel Gibson had to put up that money, and Jon Favreau had to fight tooth and nail to get him in that spot, and no one thought he could do it. Here he is, 11 years later, clean and sober. Probably some of the best work he's ever done. And he's a fantastic actor. And you're telling me, oh, whatever, these movies aren't anything. The man deals with PTSD, fallout, and trauma. He actually plays an alcoholic in the first Iron Man. And telling me, oh, no, they don't reflect human emotion and the human story and the human condition. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I second that notion. I think it's ridiculous. Anyways, I think we can move on to another topic.
Again,
we can segue. It's a hard pivot.
It is hard pivot.
However, I do think just to recap, the Academy is stupid for the Academy is very stupid for not allowing any Marvel films to be part of their program.
They barely nominated The Dark Knight.
And once again, I'm not saying all of them should be nominated. No. I'm just saying there are a few select where you see a performance or you see a thing where it's just like a movie, and it's just like, wow, that movie should be nominated for an award because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
If it was truly unbiased, they would get it.
Yeah. I think Heath Ledger only won because he died in the eyes of the Academy, whereas I would nominate Heath Ledger and make him win because it was the best performance I see out that year and one of the best I've seen in my entire life.
That'll always be a debate. At least he won it, but you kind of wish, like, there's always that little bit where, like, he only won it because he died.
Yeah.
And that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because
because Heath Ledger, look, I've been a fan of Heath Ledger forever, right? Even from Knight's Tale. And that movie's cheesy as hell, and it's fantastic. All right, Academy? But Heath Ledger's Joker is menacing and completely groundbreaking, and is a fantastic contribution to cinema and art history.
Think of how many people have tried to replicate
that
performance or like replicate that character in some way, shape, or form. Not even just with the Joker. There are clear movies that are like, okay, we want a Joker-esque antagonist and they specifically reference to The Dark Knight. And it just falls flat because it's impossible to replicate almost without Heath Ledger's touch. And I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm sure someone one day will crack the code on how Heath Ledger did it. But you have to understand that he locked himself in a hotel room
He
for
drove
6
himself
weeks.
insane.
For 6 weeks.
He also got addicted to barbiturates. That's another story. Don't hold that against him. He's getting character. Don't get addicted to drugs, though.
If you're gonna try and get into character, don't get addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
We do not condone that. However, since he did do it and happened to do it, he gave off probably the best performance that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean,
I wouldn't say that's so much the drugs. I think it was just him dealing with a lot of personal stuff at the time, too.
Yeah.
It's like the character. It's like him being told he wasn't able to do it, then putting the best performance of his career, I think it might have weighed down on him. It's like, where do I go from here? And it's like, I'm sure he had a bright outlook reaching out. I just think Heath Ledger, as a person there, just, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to speculate too much because, you know, I don't know the ins and outs of Heath Ledger's mind during his final days. I think maybe he was struggling a bit more. Well, obviously he was struggling a bit more than we all saw, and I hope he could have gotten the help he deserved.
yeah, that's another thing, yeah. But overall, great performance and, you know, great job by Heath Ledger.
Oh, so good.
So
Also,
good.
everyone else in the movie, every performance in the movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like Michael J. White, who plays Gamble, man with 8 black belts, only get fucking killed by a clown.
When you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
no, but it plays out really well.
It plays out really well.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that movie, you know, you've been living under a rock, and you should go see it.
I'll see Black Dynamite, starring Michael J. White.
Yeah, also watch Black Dynamite. That's one of my favorite comedies ever.
So good.
That movie's just...
It is
insane.
Dynamite.
It is Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Look up Black Dynamite. I think it came out, 2006, like 2 years before The Dark Knight?
I think it came out in 09.
Oh, not? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like it makes fun of, like, the 70s style, I would say.
Yes, parody and spoof. It's a satire of blaxploitation movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2009.
2009. It's a fantastic film. It actually did well critically. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go see it. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
What was I going to talk about next?
Do this, but I do it or leave soon because everyone I have class because I'm a college student.
All right, we'll run this to. We'll make it a shorter episode. We'll run it to like is 20 to 25 minutes work.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, 20
We
minutes.
won't go back to 25 minutes. I do want to quickly just hit on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for students out there that may be listening to this one day or are listening to this, congratulations! You just found the best podcast on the internet. We do our own sketches, and I'll be the first to admit, not all of our sketches are great, but we do go through a pretty, I would say, rigorous process at times to figure out how to make these sketches and put them out onto the internet. And we actually just filmed a sketch last night, which will be available next week. And it's the first time we actually got to work with actors, like actual actors, not have us act in our own sketches, which was kind of nice. And overall, if you had to give any advice or if you had to look back on that process, where do you think we could have improved upon? In the sense to where they could also maybe get a piece of advice from us.
Yeah, just generally for everyone, don't expect it to be as easy as it seems to be on screen, because just general rule of thumb, for every image you see on screen, imagine you're doing 4 times as much work for a quarter as much content, because you have to destroy a lot of footage, you gotta edit a lot of footage, you have to move together a lot of footage, and just not even just for footage, just if you're making a piece of music, if you're making any piece of art, there's gonna be different drafts and renditions, and you have to be ready and prepared to do at least 4 times as much work to get maybe half as many or quarter as many returns.
Yeah, and another thing is, like, the more time you put in beforehand to, like, prepare for that sketch, or wherever you're going to film, the better and more smoothly it'll probably go. Mm-hmm. But overall, you're always going to run into a problem. Yeah. You're always, an actor may be late, somebody may, not bring the right clothes. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, like, simple things that could just, like, you would think we're just set in stone. Like, you didn't think of all the things that were going to go wrong, you didn't think that was going to go wrong. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that normally go wrong. So just be literally prepared for everything.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes someone just might not be ready or feeling it that day, and you got to work around it. And if need be, you always have to have a plan B.
You always have to have a plan B. Now, what was nice is that we worked with, we knew 2 of the actors from beforehand, and one of them brought their girlfriend in, and she was fantastic. Mm-hmm. Her name's Brittany. You'll see her in the credits. Yeah. But, like, maybe what if she wasn't, right?
Mhm.
Then, like, that's another thing that you have to work around.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to work with what is given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just always be prepared to, like, know that the script may not go exactly the way you want it to, depending if you're writing and directing your own stuff.
Yeah.
I would say that's a huge one. That was something for me, is that not everything went exactly the way I wanted it to go, just per the script.
Yeah.
But I kind of expected that, especially since I'm guessing if you're like us, you're not working with trained actors, which is fine. I mean, you work with what you got, but only trained actors are the ones that can really, like, do the same thing over and over again and memorize it perfectly.
And regardless, I don't think anyone should ever expect their work or their creativity to remain a one-to-one stagnant constant, because things will change no matter what, because of all the moving parts and people involved.
Yeah, and that's certainly something to expect. But overall, it's a very fun thing to do. But understand, like, it's probably less fun than you think it is. I would say it's more work than people usually expect.
Yeah, you can still have fun doing it. Just remember, you are there with a purpose, so don't lose focus.
Don't lose focus. And I would say we didn't lose focus at all last night. I think we did a great job last night. This is our best shoot, by the way. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Overall, though, like, just for, like, advice for anyone out there, since I do want to make this podcast about that as well. Like, not just us talking about the Academy or, certain movies that are coming out, or, like, what our opinions are on the best movies, but, like, also about our process of making films, because I don't think there are enough podcasts out there talking about that, or enough people out there talking about that. People that actually make things, and, there are plenty of YouTube tutorials on, like, how to use a camera or something.
You can learn how to do something, but not the ins and outs of why it works.
On why it works, yeah, exactly.
And again, we're not an authority, just say this is our experience, so take from it what you will.
Yeah, and if you learn something from this, great, and if you don't, maybe just get a nice story of, like, how this stuff works. And it's certainly something that we work very hard with, and I hope someone learns something from our own experiences.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Oh, yeah, this will be the end of the podcast. Shorter one this week. I hope everyone has a good day.
Stay safe. See you next week. Happy Halloween. I don't know if Halloween's a thing. Happy Halloween, just in case.
Happy Halloween.